guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to talk about Blake 7, and I'm basically going to be giving you guys my thoughts on the series so far. I'm about halfway through Series 1 now, having watched the first 7 episodes of a 13-episode season, and I do believe all 4 series of Blake 7 are 13 episodes apiece, if I remember correctly. So I figured it'd be a good time to kind of talk about my thoughts on it so far. Since this is practically a first watch through, I do have very faint memories of seeing Blake 7 a little bit when I was little in the 80s on PBS, but they're very hazy memories. For all intents and purposes, I'm watching through it for the first time. And to give you my thoughts on that, especially with the Series 1 box set having been announced, the Blu-ray box set in the collection range, which I'm really excited about. And I haven't quite decided, do I want to wait and keep doing these reviews, because since I've been going at a little quicker pace recently, or should I wait for the box set to come out in November, which means I'll get them in late November since I'm in the States? Should I wait before I keep doing them, or should I just continue to do them because I can always rewatch them on Blu-ray later? I do love the fact they're doing updated effects for every episode. Every episode. I love that. And I love the fact that a lot of the updated effects are being done with practical effects, with model effects. They're actually, instead of going CGI, they're using a lot of practical model VFX effects with some CGI in there with it as well, just to make it not look too out of place. I like the care that's being given to these updated effects, and you guys know Prowley likes some updated effects. So I haven't quite decided if I should wait for the set to come out or to keep doing these. I'm still working on that. I guess that's something more for my patrons, since they get full reactions to these. Yes, my Patreon members, my patrons on Patreon do get access to full unedited reactions with picture-in-picture if you're interested in that. And that's, I think most of them are available at every tier for now. I'm trying to do season 1 at that, I think. So I've enjoyed the series so far. I like it. It has a very Doctor Who feel to it, especially, which isn't surprising considering there are several people from classic Doctor Who involved with this. It's created by Terry Nation. I think he writes most of the first season, if not all of it. So, of course, he also created the Daleks. Chris Boucher, of course, who wrote 3 classic Doctor Who stories and created the character of Leela, is the script editor, and I know he wrote several scripts for the show himself. We have, I believe, Dudley Simpson did some of the music for it. David Maloney is heavily involved, especially with the first 3 seasons, I believe. So, I like that it has this familiar feel to it for me, that it looks and feels a lot like classic Doctor Who. I enjoy that. Now, it is a lot darker than classic Doctor Who. I know Blake 7 is a darker series. Matter of fact, I've heard the finale is actually pretty brutal. I've tried to avoid, don't tell me stuff about it in the comments. I know it's a series that not everybody makes it out of. I try to avoid all of that. It's kind of hard to read about Blake 7 without people trying to bring up the finale and having to look away. But I've really enjoyed the darker nature of it. This very on-the-run ragtag group full of not necessarily good people who are trying to fight a corrupt government. I've really enjoyed the performances. For me, the driving force has been Paul Darrow and Gareth Thomas. I absolutely love their portrayals of Avon and Blake. They are really good. Each character individually, I've really enjoyed. I absolutely love Blake's optimism. He's very much an idealist, and I like what he's trying to do in theory. But I love how offset that is by Avon, who is much more of a realist. He sees the world the way it is, not the way it should be or the way he wants it to be. He sees the world the way the world is. And I'm surprised he's willing to go along with Blake on as many things as he is. But he seems to be willing to let Blake be the leader. And, like, Avon doesn't come across as uncaring or emotionalist. He's just pragmatic. He understands that this is the way the world works. And I like that. And Paul Darrow does that. I love the deadpan delivery he gives on things sometimes. He'll say something that I find funny, but half of it's funny. It's just this deadpan way he says it. And then when he does smile like he's making a joke, it's not always a nice joke. There was a couple times during the reactions he'd smile when he said something, and I'd get a chuckle out of it. The other characters I feel like need fleshing out more. They feel a little two-dimensional. I like Villa, but Villa's very much the cowardly, let's not do this the hard way type, the I don't want to get hurt doing this. I wish there was a little more to him than that. Now, Michael Keating plays that well, and Villa can be a funny character. I know Michael Keating's also in The Sunmakers. And I like him in the role. I just wish we'd get a little more from him other than making the jokes about, well, do we have to go down there? I like Jenna, the actress playing Jenna, who I know is not there for the whole show as well, much like Blake. Because I know Blake, I always thought Blake left right around the end of Series 1, but somebody down in one of the comments, one of the reviews, I think mentioned it's actually Season 2. I think he leaves after Season 2. But I know he shows up a little bit after that, because I know he's also in the final episode. I don't know if Sally ever comes back, because I don't know if she leaves the same time Blake leaves or if she leaves sooner. I know she leaves, and I don't know if she comes back any after she leaves. But I like her, but I don't really know much about her. She's there, and the performance is good, but I haven't gotten a lot with her yet. Same thing with Gan. I haven't really gotten much with Gan. He's kind of the muscle, I guess. And I like him. Again, the actor's doing a good job with him. I need more with him. And then I like Callie. Callie, of course, showed up in episode 4, and I really like her. I like how she can, well, I shouldn't say I know she can kind of be mind controlled by the descendants of her own people. That was interesting. I feel like she's just been given a little more to do, especially in the last episode, Mission to Destiny, where she had a little more to do with Avon. So I actually like her quite a bit so far. I still hope we get some more fleshing out with her, but I like her. And then I finally got introduced to Jacqueline Pierce's character. Severlin? Is that how you say it? Severlin? I'm so used to just calling her Jacqueline Pierce. So, of course, I know from The Two Doctors. And she also plays one of the Cardinal Time Lords in Big Finish with some of the War Doctor stuff, which I've listened to The Innocent, heard her in that, and liked her in that. I liked her. I've only seen her in episode 6 so far, but there is something about her. I see now why people have talked about how she just has this presence about her. She does. That close cropped hair looks so nice to her. That little outfit she wears. She's definitely eye-catching. There's just something... There's something of, like, she strikes me as a military leader while also having this extremely sexual quality to her. I don't know what it is, but your eyes are just drawn to Severlin, where you want to look at her. And, it's like her outfit kind of is very form-fitting to her. It's hard to not look at her. She just has this presence where if she's in a room, you feel like all the eyes are going to be on her, especially all the male eyes are going to be on her. I don't know her enough as a character yet, having only seen her in that one episode, but I'm loving Jacqueline's performance of her so far. And then I also got introduced to Travis, and I can't remember the guy's name who plays Travis. I think his name is Steven, because I think there's a tribute to him on the Blu-ray set. And again, I've only seen Travis in the one episode, so I don't have a big opinion of him yet. But I do like the fact that we already have that relationship with Blake, because it is established he's the one who, that they've encountered each other before. Blake doesn't like Travis because Travis led the ambush that murdered a lot of his friends. Travis doesn't like Blake because Blake's the one who caused his physical injuries when he shot him. So I already like that, there's kind of a nemesis thing going on there between them. And I would imagine we're going to get some more confrontations between them. I don't know if they'll meet again in season 1 or not. Although it looks like it. Because there was some footage of them fighting in the woods in the trailer for the season 1 box set, where it looks like Travis has a knife held to Blake's throat, and when it looks like they're in a forest or woods or something, and I haven't seen that clip yet, so that must be from a future episode. I mean, the next episode that I haven't seen yet is called The Duel, so maybe. But I am looking forward to seeing more of them because I like the fact that they do have a reason to dislike each other and that we already have a strong antagonist for our protagonist. I like that. I really like that. The episodes themselves have been good. It's interesting how much the episodes vary from each other. Like the pilot episode, especially the first 2 episodes, feel so drastically different. Excuse me. From everything since. Like the first episode focuses a lot on the lawyer and his wife. The one that I kept mistakenly thinking was the same guy who played Lytton. Apparently it's not, but I just could have swore it was. That it focused so much on them. It was really crazy to me that they get killed at the end of the pilot. And that's it for them when the show focused on them quite a bit, especially, again, the lawyer. And then it just has a totally different feel to it than the rest of the show. The pilot's very different. Same thing with episode 2 when they're on the prison ship. And maybe it's because I watched those early episodes so spaced out too. Because that's why the reviews have come so far between them. Mainly because I just hate editing. Episode 2 when they're on the prison ship and having to escape has such a drastic feel to it from everything that's come later. Now with episode 3 and on, it starts getting that more familiar feel like the show has had thus far with episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think episode 3 was the one with Brian Blessed. I loved that. I absolutely loved that. Brian Blessed is very Brian Blessed in this, and I love his death. The character's death. Brian Blessed's character has the most Brian Blessed death. When he's beamed out in space holding the wand going, rah! Like if you're going to give a character played by Brian Blessed a death, that is the over-the-top type of death you give him. It's perfect. It's like they wrote that death just for a character because they knew Brian Blessed was going to be playing it, and I love that. I enjoyed that episode well enough. I thought it was a lot of fun. Episode 4, I liked. I didn't really care about the stuff going on the ship with the people waking up from cryo and trying to protect their genetic stock. That didn't do much for me. But the stuff going on the planet with Blake sabotaging the stuff and meeting Callie. That's where we meet Callie and Callie joining. I enjoyed that. I actually did enjoy that bit a lot. Episode 5 was very filler to me. It felt very much like a filler episode, but a good filler episode with it being caught in the web and finding out what was going on the planet. And of course, Blake not liking how the mutos or whatever they're called are being treated. Because Blake, again, is an optimist. He doesn't think living things should be treated like that. I thought the actors playing the people dressed in silver were fine. A filler episode, but a fun filler episode. I loved episode 6. I loved episode 6. I finally got introduced to Severlin. And at the exact same time she shows up on screen, I have Peter Miles with her. I love me some Peter Miles. I did not know Peter Miles showed up in this. I've been looking forward to Blake 7 just so I can see the crossover. Because I know some of the actual cast from Doctor Who show up in Blake 7. Like I know Colin Baker's in an episode at some point. I don't know if any of the companions show up in it or not, but that'd be neat. But more importantly, some of the guest actors. I figured some of the guest actors from Doctor Who will also be guest actors on Blake 7. So I loved when Peter Miles shows up. Because I'm a huge Peter Miles fan. There's something about his voice. I really like Peter Miles' voice. It's just a really cool voice. Especially for these kind of villainous characters he plays a lot. He's great in Doctor Who and the Silurians. He's great in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. He is one of the reasons Genesis of the Daleks is a masterpiece. There's a lot of reasons why Genesis of the Daleks is a masterpiece, including Michael Wisher, Tom Baker. There's a lot of reasons, but Peter Miles as Niter is definitely part of that. He plays Niter so well. And then I also listened to The Paradise of Death recently, one of the 90s audio stories with John Pertwee as the Doctor and Nicholas Courtney and Elizabeth Sladen back. And Peter Miles plays one of the bad guys in that as well, and I was so excited when I realized that. So as soon as Peter Miles showed up on camera, I got all excited. I was super excited. So I finally get Jacqueline Pierce and I get Peter Miles. I was a happy character. And then I also got introduced to Travis and then Callie getting left behind. Although the bit where they didn't realize Callie wasn't there seems like a bit of a plot hole that they just... we have to overlook Callie's not there for plot convenience, because I was sitting there, like, when I was reacting to the video going, how can they not notice she's not there? How come why is it taking them so long to realize she's not there? It's not like there's 30 of them and you miss one, like kids on a field trip. That kind of thing can happen. There's like 7 of them. How can you miss? And then Travis setting the trap for Blake. Blake, remembering what Travis has done before, reversing the trap on Travis. That's all really well done. That was a really good episode. One of my favorite episodes so far. And then I enjoyed episode 7 as well, which was a murder mystery episode, which I enjoyed. That was fun. You almost need Perry Mason, but we don't because we have Avon. I enjoyed that. I like how it cuts between what's going on with Blake on the Liberator and what's going on with Avon and Callie on the ship as more people end up dead. And then the fact that the actual murderer wasn't a surprise to me. I was like, of course it would be that person. I should have known. I talk about that in review, how I was just like, of course it was that person. And how I even called a couple of things that happened before they were going to happen, like, he needs to check the box. It's not in the box. I bet it's not in the box. He's not going to check the box. Sure enough, turns out later it wasn't in the box. I knew, but it was still a good episode. So I'm enjoying the show halfway through season 1. It feels more like Doctor Who than the last few seasons of Doctor Who. Like, if I look at Blake 7 Series 1, and I look at Doctor Who Season 1 with Shuckle, Blake 7 feels more like Doctor Who. Now, part of it is the look of it, because it does look a lot like classic Doctor Who, whereas, of course, 2020s Doctor Who doesn't look like 70s Doctor Who, to be fair. But I get way more of a nostalgic, happy feeling watching Blake 7, which I don't have a nostalgic attachment to, other than knowing what it is, knowing what it was since I was very little. I've always known what Blake 7 is ever since I was little, just because one of my uncles would talk about it, because he's into all of the same kind of stuff just like I am. Probably one of the reasons why I like Doctor Who and Star Trek and all that. And so I've always known what Blake 7 was, and I have very faint memories of it when I was little. Whereas, you'd think I'd have more nostalgic attachment to the new era of Doctor Who with Shuckle and even some of the Jodie Whittaker stuff, whereas they don't really feel the same as the Doctor Who I grew up with, because Doctor Who changes so much that 80s Doctor Who is different than 70s Doctor Who is different than 60s Doctor Who, etc., etc., etc. But I have more of a nostalgic attachment to Blake 7, and that fascinates me. To the point that I didn't order the Doctor Who Season 1 Steelbook. Mainly because it was $80, and 2, because I didn't feel like it was worth the $80. Now, I'm fine if someone wants to send it, but I just don't feel like it's worth the $80 I would have to spend to get it right now. Whereas I did order the Season 1 Blu-ray of Blake 7, which still cost me about $55 to $60, and I feel like it's worth the money, especially with all the extras, which the Doctor Who Season 1 Steelbook doesn't have enough extras, whereas this has lots of extras and updated effects, and you guys know Prowl likes his updated effects. So I'm much more excited about getting the Blake 7 Series 1 Blu-ray than I would be, thinking about getting Doctor Who Season 1 Steelbook. And that's where I'm at on it. So, a good show so far. I want to know what you think of these first seven episodes of Blake 7. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I want to give a shout out to Colin Coney, one of my top tier patrons. I appreciate his support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I do have a link to my Patreon down in the description. My P.O. box is down there. A link to my Amazon wishlist is down there. And a link to my Amazon UK wishlist is down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.